Hello. Hello and welcome. I am recording this video this afternoon, and I'm going to talk about hens on nests. I haven't actually seen a lot of information out there, and what information I did find kind of repeats itself. But I just thought I would do like a synopsis of it all. I've got several different hen on nests or other animals to show you. And we're just going to chat about it a little bit, about the history of it. Just have a little bit of fun looking at some of the ones I have here in the shop with me. And let's dig into it. So what I don't have, but I certainly would like to have, is the original hens on nests, and they were originally made in Staffordshire, England, and that's not a brand. That's a type or a area that first made the hens on nests, and they are ceramic. They are very vividly glazed, or not really painted because they're multicolored, and it would have been glazed on ceramics. They look very much like what you maybe would expect a chicken in real life, the browns and the reds and whites, blacks, that sort of thing. So very, very vividly painted, and then quite often it's not sitting on a brown nest. This shape is very similar to the glass ones that we're familiar with these days, but those were the very first ones, and those are probably about the most valuable excuse me, hens on nests that you can find. Some of the slag glass ones that we will talk about go for significantly more money, but those are because those are individual unique ones. So I have some talking notes here. It's always good to have some talking notes. So those were made in the late 1800s in England. And what happened was those got shipped over to the US, or some of those got shipped over to the US. And because how they were made and the delicate nature of them, they were very expensive. So generally only wealthy people had those. And as they grew in popularity, the glass making industry grew, it became far easier for the glass companies in the United States to reproduce those, to make copies. And one of the first companies to make a nesting hen was Atterbury, and the Atterbury Glass Company was out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and one of their most famous is known as the Atterbury duck, and you can find those, but they're very, very rare, and they're pretty costly. So the Atterbury Company made a wide variety of animals. Boar's heads was a popular one that they did, but they also did the regular hen on nest. So you would those I have actually seen on museum websites. So those are pretty rare, but you can actually still buy things from the Atterbury Glass Company on Etsy or eBay or whatever. So they made a lot of items. So anyway, so the one chicken that we are started to be familiar with, and the company that coined the name hen on a nest was the Westmoreland Company. And I have quite a few Westmoreland hens on nests, or I've got birds on nests. I've got a wide variety of items that I do believe are Westmoreland. So I think I'm going to show you them all eventually, but I do believe this one has actually been married, as in it's two separate pieces that were joined together after one of them broke. But this is Westmoreland. It has a very common split tail, and that one is the blue milk glass for the top. The bottom is just the milk glass, the opal glass, sometimes as it's called. The hen on nest that is also very, very common is the Indiana one. And something interesting about the Indiana hens is that they never change the style of their molds, which I found fairly interesting. And it's you can tell what chicken it is, or what company it is by that. One very distinguished mark is it does have this flat tail. A lot of the tails are, you know, bent slightly or split open like the Westmoreland. And then also it has that indentation on the, it's not perfectly oval. It's got a little hole, kind of where they would have popped it out of the molds. You'll see that on the Indiana glass ones, which I thought was fairly interesting to know that. And also early on with the Indiana Glass Company, they did the straw effect. So it wasn't like a basket weave pattern or whatever. It was just meant to represent the straw on the nest. And that goes all the way around, of course. The only thing that did change on the mold for the Indiana glass ones was this beading. The original ones were more straight up and down, and then it eventually came to the where it laid more flat, if that makes sense. And then there were slight spaces between each of the little dots. Sure, that's not the right word, but little dots. We'll go for little dots. Okay, so that's kind of the Indiana glass. They also only made the 7-inch size. So they made a huge variety of colors. One person I was reading about said between 20 and 30 different colors. Clear and the white milk glass were probably the two most common. And then, but then they also made many other colors. So, sorry, excuse me. So this basket weave, let me see if I can find, yeah, the basket weave on this one came about more in the 70s. So you see that basket weave on the bottom, that, and there's the bottom mark. So it looks more like a basket. That effect came about more, yes, in the late 60s, 70s, and then a lot of the nests from the different companies have that effect. There's over 100 companies that made the hens on the nest. You've got Fenton, Moser, Boyd, Indiana Glass, L.E. Smith, Westmoreland, just, I think that might be most of what I have here. I have one that says Smith. So that's a company, a glass company I had never heard of, but when there's over 100 different companies making them, then, you know, you're going to find a huge variety. One company that is still in existence and making nesting items is Moser, and that is located in Cambridge, Ohio. And I have a cat, and this is made by Moser, and it's got a very distinctive basket. Now, one thing about Moser is that a lot of the molds they are using for their different items actually came from companies that are no longer in business. They use Fenton molds, for example, L.E. Smith, and I think the Indiana Glass Company, maybe they had molds from them too. So they're producing items, some of their own original molds, but then also they're using molds that belong to other companies that somebody else has made. But you know what? It's I kind of think it's a cool thing, honestly. All right, so I am going to share a few of, I'm just looking at my notes here, share a few of the hens on a nest I have. Let's start with a small one. So I just showed you the Moser cat, and I've had the cobalt color. And I've had this, sorry. I also had this as a nesting hen. And this tiny size is considered a salt cellar, because salt. Oh, and another thing that I forgot to mention is that excuse me, quite often the hens on nests were originally sold as condiment containers, like with condiments in them, such as mustard. Mustard was a very popular item that was put in these and then sold packaged that way. It was meant to be that way. So sorry, I don't think we have any chatting going on, but I do have that enabled if anybody wanted to chat. Another tiny little one that I have, another salt cellar. This is made by the Boyd company. And those are also a very distinctive look to them. All of the baskets for all the different colors. I have had this in green and yellow. I think I've had it in the cobalt blue. And then Boyd is very good at marking their items. There's a B right there. So you can definitely tell if you've got a Boyd hen on a nest, it is marked. And I do believe, did they just make, the Boyd just makes the tiny ones? I'm not sure about that. Okay, so those are the two salt cellar size that I have. And then this one sadly has a broken tail. It was very sad that is that way. This one is actually hand painted. That drip or spattered look, that's actually applied to this chicken. And then on the inside it says Smith handmade. So that's probably an aftermarket effect that got put on this hen. But it's got a nice basket weave. Other than that sticker in there, it is actually unmarked. So I don't know who made that particular chicken. And then the one I found on Etsy, it said unmarked. So apparently their sticker had come off. So not only were there hens made, there were a multitude of other animals. Birds probably being the most common. That seems to be mostly what you find online are the birds. But I have, as of today, I have now seen a frog one. I've had dog ones before. I've seen cows, lambs, cats. And I saw that boar's head one that was really cool, and that was in the Chicago Art Institute. I believe I saw that one, and that was the Atterbury one. I have a chicken, a duck, a swan, elephants, and poodle, which I will show you here in a minute. But there is just an absolute multitude. So another company that made a lot and did coin the phrase hen on a nest is the Westmoreland Company. And I've got a couple more, just a different variation. This is two little birds in a pink, frosted pink. And you can see that basket weave again on the bottom of this. So that's just a thing that says Westmoreland. So when somebody purchases it, they will know what company made that. So that is a variation. And then I have a larger Westmoreland with two birds on it as well. The people that I bought it from, they had a ton of this pink frosted stuff. So that's why I've got two in the similar color. But the basket weave, I've also had this one in green before. So this mold was made in many different colors. I've seen this in purple too, I think. And then let's see if we can find the Westmoreland mark. Okay, it's not on that one. It's the great thing about these companies. Sometimes they mark their stuff and sometimes they don't. All right, another one that I have is a swan, and this is Jeanette glass, which just refers to the type of glass. This is an amberina one. Oh, look, there's my sticker on it. And this one does have a chip, rather significant chip, hence the low price. But I don't know, somebody might think it's beautiful and still want it. So, but these were just, this is maybe a little more of a candy dish since the whole body doesn't fit over that. But the next one I want to show you is elephants. Once again, it's not the whole body, but it's still animals sitting on top of a dish, which puts it in the category. And then another one that is just an animal sitting on top is a poodle. I love how they just made these in like every conceivable. So probably not, you know, a true animal in a nest. This may be just more of a covered candy dish, but fun nonetheless. All right, and then 3 others that I have that fall more closely in line with the hen on a nest is this bird. Let's see, is the bird Westmore? Yeah, the bird is Westmoreland as well. Sorry. So that is definitely a bird on a nest. Look at the detail in that. The twigs and the sticks. Very nice piece. Sitting on branches. She's nesting for all she's worth there, isn't she? And then I have a blue slag glass duck. Now the slag glass ones, excuse me, are definitely the most valuable of all of the hens on nests, and you will find those in purples and blacks and reds and yellows and green. I mean, every color of glass that they made, you will find that made into slag glass, and that's generally like swirled, and it looks dripped and twisted, but it's still using these same molds to make the animals on their nests. So here is, do you see there's some slight color variation, and then this one is missing her red eyes. So I think I'm gonna get red stones, still got the glue on this side, and replace those. I think it'll look better like it's originally meant to. So this is also, I believe, Westmoreland. Really hope that's heavy glass. No, this one is not marked, but once again, it's got good markings on it. This one is in excellent shape. It's so fun when you find them. And I love the ones, I mean, hens on nests are great, and I think it's a really worthwhile collection to have. But I love the other animals that you find out there. And then the very last one I have is L.E. Smith Company. So another company that made the nesting animals, and it is a turkey. The fanned feathers there. And then I've got this in pink as well. All right, so I think that is going to conclude what I know about hens on nests. If you have any questions, just pop them in the comments, and I will hope to answer those for you eventually. Thanks. Have a good day.